Hello, everybody. So we're a small group, so if you want to interrupt and say and ask questions, it's also fine. So, so a bit about what we're going to talk today. So I'm going to talk really quick about myself, what we're going to try to do on this talk, a bit about the company, the success story that Stanislav said, and a bit about the services, one service at a time, where we use Golang and how that went. And then we're going to talk about the whole thing again. Okay, so my name is Marcel. I'm from here. So here is south of Brazil. I think I wanted to put this thing so that you get an idea where it is, because I'm in a. For me, this is a strange place to be. So I wanted to share, and then you get even closer. That's there. And I just learned that the other speaker from Brazil, she's also from there. So it's really cool. There's accident. Okay, and that's the house that I learned to code. So on that little window there, my father said, "You need to learn to code." So father was a developer, and I did a lot of different languages, and then I liked Ruby a lot. But then Ruby was a bit too magical, and then Golang is boring, but it's a good boring. Yeah. So a little bit also. So I lived in Brazil, France, and other places. And then before MessageBird, I had a small startup that we spent some money, but never made money. But it was really good. I learned a lot. And now I'm engineering manager, so I don't code every day, just on Wednesday. And yeah, and that's it. So. So what I would like to do with this talk is that to go through time, how it started. So just this morning, someone asked me, "Hey, how did you convince people to use Golang at your company?" And I said, "Yeah, we will talk a bit about that, and try to look at the whole company, the evolution of the company, and also then zoom in and zoom out on specific services and what happened there." And also, I think it's nice to get a relationship to get a view of how does it mean the relationship between a company and a language. Yeah. So we didn't start the timer. Oh yes, extra minutes. I didn't start again, so maybe you help me. It's fine. YOLO timer. Okay, cool. So, the company's MessageBird. What do? We build this communication platform to help companies to talk to their customers. So, further on, you're going to see that we have a lot of different customers everywhere. So, for example, Uber is a customer, Telegram is a customer. And some other big companies everywhere in the world. So the idea is that it's a bit hard to get to communicate seamlessly everywhere in the world. So imagine a company from the Belarus to send a message to Vietnam. You're going to have a contract or with a telecom from there, and it gets really complicated. So yeah, that's what we do. Those are a few products. So voice, SMS. We do WhatsApp integrations and FlowBuilder that we're going to talk about a bit. Yeah, that's it. So how does it start? So the company started only doing SMS. This is a really big. This is a really big market, and you think like, oh, SMS is dying, but actually the curve is going up still. So whenever you want to go schedule an appointment at the dentist, you get an SMS confirming, things like that. And this is growing a lot. So especially when you want to validate that you own that cell phone, that's what Telegram uses us for, you get an SMS. So it started like this, but then we said, hey, we need to grow a little bit more. So the idea, then we went to another idea that is the telecom of the future. So this is where I got in the company. I got convinced by that slogan. I said, hey, this is going to be cool. So yeah. And then nowadays we call it the CPaaS. So CPaaS is a communication platform as a service. So yeah, what I said, we want to help companies to talk to their customers. So in the beginning, it all starts with the PHP monolith. So you heard this story before, maybe not with PHP, but with some other language. But the difference is that we started making money from first day. So this is something special. And what happened is the company we were doing, buying a lot of SMS from a few companies and then selling to many companies and then making money doing that. And we did it with PHP, and looking back, this was actually a good idea. I think that when you use a dynamic language, that you can try things and hack things in production while things are working in the beginning of of a startup I think is a good idea. So today, I think it's a good. So, and very important, close to the business. So the code that we were doing was really like, the only things that we did was because the business wanted. So, and that's a bit of the ethos of get shit done, that I have the t-shirt that we use at the office. And yeah, I forgot to bring t-shirts to this conference, so sorry, next time. Yeah, so everything was going fine, but to actually talk to the telecoms, you need to use some special protocols, and one of them is SMPP. This is a short message peer-to-peer. This is what telecoms, this is a fairly new protocol, and when you say in telecom, this is like, I don't know, 20 years or something. And it's over TCP protocol. You can use TLS also, and it's a long-lived connection. So PHP doesn't like that. So you cannot manage memory yourself, and so we used this off-the-shelf thing in a solution in C++ that was not going really well, and we had a problem to scale it. So we were sending a lot of messages and receiving a lot of messages on it, and then we wanted to, hey, let's load balance this, and then it was really hard because some people send some of the message to one connection, some of the message to our connection. It was not nice. So we said, hey, let's build our own thing. They hired this guy, Prep. So his name is Maurice. He started everything in. So that's his face. He doesn't like to show his face. He's a super cool guy. Anyway, so he started in C++ also. They say, hey, we need to be really painful about memory and performance and everything. And then he worked 2 weeks really crunching, super happy that he was doing C++. And then on the weekend, he said, hey, there's this new language thing from Google. I'm going to try it. And then he did almost the same thing as he did in 2 weeks of C++. He did it on the weekend. And then he convinced the people from the company, hey, I want to try this thing. And then people said, OK, let's do it. And then this says 4 years ago, but this is because GitLab is a bit silly with dates. But yeah, so it was a few more. So what happened is that we put this live, and then we actually got complaints from suppliers and customers that we were responding too fast. So yeah, when you connect to old telecoms, they have like this monster Java stack. They send one thing and they expect like, you're gonna respond in 30 seconds or something. And then we were responding really quick. And then we actually had to put like time slip inside the code to be happy with them. So if customer is 37, time sleep, really bad. But okay, this is the past. So what was the SMPP client to server doing? So it was actually a bunch of goroutines reading from TCP, right? And writing to TCP. So we have SMPP, which is a little bit on top of TCP, and then we have Beanstalk, which is a queuing system. So we're using a queuing system to talk to the PHP monolith. So I wanted to do a drawing, but I didn't have time. So, but it's yeah. So we had a Go meetup in Amsterdam, and then Andri, one of the guys that works with this, he came up with this analogy of this wolf and the chickens dropping the eggs. So that's what you get. So let's say you have one wolf, and you have to catch an egg on one side, take the egg to the other side, and then prevent eggs from dropping. And then it really helped to have concurrency by doing this. So this is a very small service full of goroutines that scales super fast and is super good. Yeah. So how does it work? So SMPP server. So here I'm diving a little bit on the implementation. So remote client. So how does SMPP server work? So remote client opens a connection. The SMPP handles connection. The SMPP receives a PDU. So PDU is the package. So this in contrast, parsing PDU in C was super easy. So you just define a structure, and then in Go we had to do a little bit more magic, but actually it was a good idea. And we transform into JSON, and then we put it again on the queue, and that was it. So it's really, really simple. And this also brings another idea that is cool in Go, that the simplicity on the as a motto is a inspiring thing for doing services. So yeah, but that's it. The client is the other way around. So we read from SMPP, and then we make a PDU, and then we put the PDU inside the TCP connection again. So the PDU, this is not very interesting, but this is just a binary blob of bytes, and yeah, and that's it. So it has a header, but it can change the size of the body. There are some flags that we abuse a lot in the company. Okay, so the thing worked really well. The company was growing, and then we said, hey, we need to monitor things, right? We don't know if they're working or not. So what happens is that we needed to monitor things. And that's when they hired me. So I got in, and then the second thing that I did was actually to make Prometheus Grafana work. And then, but I thought about Go. I was a Go developer, and I said, hey, this is great. But then when I started, and then I tried to instrument things in PHP to sell the idea to the company, it was not very easy. So that's why we came up with this thing called push-from I'm going to talk about, and the Beanstalk exporter. So Beanstalk exporter was really nice because it was just a little hack, also 2-3 days of work, that actually allowed us to monitor all the Beanstalk queues. So just that we were using for SMPP. Everybody was super happy. So push-from is actually the most successful open source thing of MessageBird. Well, we don't have a lot of stars, but this is actually nice. It's a very tiny, simple project that I'm happy I worked on it. So what's the idea? So Prometheus by default doesn't offer a PHP client. Why? Because Prometheus expects clients to compute the metrics by themselves. So it's the church of pool. I was not sure if it was pool of pooling, of pooling. So there's two words in English. I was not sure if I got the right one, but the idea is that so then in PHP you cannot store things in memory. Every request you do, things get lost. So yeah, that's it. So we cannot keep track of state. So we came up with a very lazy idea, actually. So to build a little service that just accepts HTTP or UDP requests, and it's just a thin layer over the Go client. So yeah.
Why did you use stats3 export?
Yeah. So we started with this. But the problem is that we would integrate, then we would have to do a request from PHP using statsd, and that would...
statsd export. There is a statsd export.
Yeah, but then we would have to run statsd. Yeah. So the problem is that this is a little bit easier. So the response for this is on the README, but this was a little bit easier. It was even dumber clients. So yeah. So yeah. So so this is a little. So this is more or less the server code. It just reads from UDP. We count the packets. And then we create this delta. It's just a JSON that describes the change that you want to do on the metric, and then depending on the type of the metric, call some function. Nothing amazing, really simple. And then here, so you see, like 2 functions later, we're already talking to the Prometheus Go client. So it was very simple. Also, a few days of work, and then it was done in production already. So, and actually, this is the service that is most deployed at the company right now by accident, because we use it as a sidecar for PHP workers. Company keeps growing, times keep passing, and then the engineering department grows too big, and then we create teams, and for every team we try to assign a team to a product, and Voice is born. So Voice, as I said, first we were doing SMS, and now we want to do actual calls so that you can build your call center in your company if you want. So it was actually a lot of Go services orbiting Camellia and Asterisk, and we distributed around the world. And then because of latency, so we want to be sure that the call is picked up really quick. And we had the guys at the company, they're really good salespeople. So what happened is that they sold to a monster company, and then from day one, it was like monster traffic. And it was an interesting scaling problem. So this is still we're just starting. So this started a few years ago, and the market is really big. So we're gonna see a really big growth on the thing. But I don't know. I didn't work so much about it, so I'm not gonna dive in. So, but that's it. What I worked with is the data team. So we built a data pipeline. So we played with the name a lot, and actually caused many problems because people didn't know if the channel name on Slack was Tada or Data, it's still a problem. So we even tried to use the emoji on repository names, didn't work out. This slide comes from a presentation that we did at Google. That's why it's full of Google Cloud stuff. But the idea is that what I wanted to talk about is that we use a data collection service on Kubernetes engine, so that's what I'm going to talk about a bit. We put everything in PubSub. We use Google Cloud Dataflow or Apache Beam to do stream computations, and then we store some pre-computed stuff on Bigtable. We store all the events to cloud storage, and then we store some of the computed stuff in ClickHouse, or even all the events in ClickHouse. And then we have another guy here that is actually serving the results from ClickHouse. ClickHouse is a Yandex thing. I bet you guys heard about it, right? We really like it. It's really nice, super fast. These are the guys that did the presentation. I wanted to put some pictures of people, so you know the people behind they were super nervous. This is a big conference. So again, so the first guy was the event collection system. So this is EventGate, and the last part is Crunchy, the service that runs that serves Crunch data. They are both in Go. So I want to dive a little bit deep into EventGate. So the idea of EventGate is, again, try to do something really simple that can be copied and deployed everywhere. And it's a gRPC service. So whenever you're in your PHP, Go, Java, whatever, you want to measure something, you write gRPC. All the events are defined in protobuf, so they also help out. everywhere. And we do some minor validation. So, hey, is the customer ID not 0? Something like this. And then we pipe that protobuf over pub/sub, and that's it. And then the pipeline continues. But what happened is that we send a lot of SMS per second, and every SMS goes through many events. So SMS got submitted, SMS got delivered, and then actually we see an average of 7 events per SMS. So that means that it's 7 times the amount of SMS, at least. So what happens is that when we put this live, we said, hey, let's do everything at the same time. Let's put the servers live with real traffic in a new Kubernetes cluster at the same time. We said, let's YOLO this thing up. And what happened is that we broke the cluster because we forgot to put limits on the pods, and then it was really bad. So let's dive into the bad code. So it says 2 years, but it's I think is more or less 3. So in the beginning, it was very simple. So this is also nice to look at the repository was this, and it stayed like this for a long time. And we stored the protobufs inside the repository, and the generated code also inside the repository. We don't do this anymore. Right now, we have another way of generating protos for the whole company, for generating code from protos for the whole company. Yeah, and this is at the time. So this is CMD event gate. It had 1 file. So this is we put this in production. So it was very, very silly. Main was like this. Also not a big thing. So I don't know if you used gRPC before, but this is without TLS. So this is no encryption, where you just listen TCP. You create gRPC servers, and then here, this is the magic line. You say like, hey, this is an actual event gate server, and then listen for connections. And this is what is being called on the server whenever there is an event. So this is where we create the connection. This is going to go bad, and then here we define the topic name, and then we just put it to pub/sub. Yeah. So pub/sub is, I don't know if you used it, but it's a queuing system. Pub/sub from Google. Yeah. That's it. So on to the next thing. FlowBuilder. So FlowBuilder is so till now we were doing so before it was simple services. We started with SMPP. SMPP was really important, and then the whole data pipeline was a mix of Java, mix of Go. But then we started getting a little bit more complicated, and that's where FlowBuilder gets in. So FlowBuilder is a drag and drop product. So for people to build, well, it started to build IVR menus. So you call this phone number, and people say like, "Good morning. You want to talk to sales or to support or to technical?" And then what happens? You can program yourself by dragging and dropping things. This is kind of a trend in the enterprise nowadays. So developers are expensive. People want to do things without developers. Therefore, this happens. So every one of these things we call steps. They are executed asynchronously, and they can be distributed everywhere, and that's it. So here you can see that an incoming call arrives, and then there is a text-to-speech, good morning, blah, and then IVR menu, we wait for someone to press the button, and then, yeah, and so it goes. You can draw a really big tree, and even loops. So, yeah, so low code, no code, this is the trend now. And then we do a lot of distributed workers, doing Golang, doing a lot of requests everywhere. And this whole thing is a JSON that we store on the database, more or less, and then we keep a global program counter in the database. So this is a very interesting job, a very interesting problem, because you're like reproducing a computer again inside the computer. So the guy that worked on this, David. So David, he used to come to my desk during this time, and he said, "Hey, I want to do this thing, and I want to have a program counter on the database." And I said, "No, this is never going to work. It's going to explode in so many ways. You're going to expose this thing to the internet, and people are going to abuse and everything." It's not. So it's going really good. It's growing. This is a product that we're seeing a lot of retention and a lot of people actually enabling all the products. So yeah. So to recap everything, so we started using Go because we needed to, and then we convinced the company that it was a good solution for a company that had a lot of services, and we start building small helper tools for Prometheus and little services, and then we start building serious infrastructure and solid products like the data thing and the FlowBuilder. Right now we have even more products. Everything is built in Go. No, not everything. Most of it. Right. So the future is that most of the new product development is built in Go. And we're going to see, so the whole company, almost every year, we double the amount of people inside the company and the revenue. So I think we're going to see that, I think there will be a lot of more things written in Go. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah.
Does anybody have questions?
Hi.
Oh.
Hello? Okay. Thank you for the talk. Can you share with us what do you feel was the most challenging part of that journey? If you have to pick one.
Yeah, I think it's more like a organizational challenge than a technical challenge. We currently have these two languages in the company, and then we want people to be very adaptable. The business is changing really quick. We want people to be very adaptable, and we want PHP developers to do some Go developers do some PHP, and then sometimes, so one way it's easy, the other way is a little bit harder, and I think the team building of this, and this is one thing. I think this is the hardest thing, and then the other thing is that because of the fast growth, we have a hard time having common tools around teams, because teams appear and then they are all new, and then and this is something that I work with right now, is to create a common culture for every team, what tools to use, what libraries to use to do logging, to do HTTP handling and things like this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for the talk. It was very interesting. And my question is...
Yeah.
It works. Okay. My question is it was hard to switch from PHP to Go for PHP developers?
No.
No?
At all. So this is super easy. It's like a week max. And actually, so right now I work on the onboarding team, and I see a lot of the PHP developers coming in the company, and this is like a task that they have to do, and we see people being productive in 2 days. They're already doing merge requests. And yeah.
And how about the code quality for Go? Is it adheres Go standards, or?
Yeah. So what we do is that, especially in the beginning, we try to do when we do a merge request and get someone experienced to to be very, very painful in the beginning. Like, hey, and I even tell people like, hey, it's okay that in the beginning that we're very aggressive on the merge requests. Later we kind of build trust and it goes away. Yeah, but.
So the learning curve is shallow and.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Learning curve is for PHP developers for learning Go is short and shallow. Yeah.
Yeah, very easy.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for your talk. It's very interesting.
Cool.
I really like the way you present the stuff.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I have a question about the flow stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm working currently on a similar idea. It's just flow, not for people, but for programmers. And I have a question about how this flow product was hard to integrate with people. What are the changes? What are the challenges of people using this product? What were the major problems?
Yeah, we a lot of investment went into this from the design and the front end team. They really worked a lot even before launching. So we had a lot of talks with customers even before launching this. So we sat with the customer in their office and hey, let's click through things and see what did you don't understand, and I think we solved a lot of the problems there, but it was a big investment. So a lot of time of many people to get the interaction right. But this is the user, right? The person that is building the flow. So right now we are working on getting it right to put people in the process, right? Let's say that people get a call and do something, and then type something on the computer, and then the flow continues to go somewhere else. Oh, yeah.
Is anybody here? We have time for maybe one more question. Yeah, I have a question as well.
Yeah?
If you don't mind.
Yes, Stanislav works.
It another question about Prometheus and monitoring.
Yeah.
You said that you have many your programs are located in many data centers around the world.
Yeah.
As I understood, and all these programs are monitored by Prometheus.
Yeah.
And do you have a global query view over all data collected by all the Prometheus around the globe?
Yeah. So I have to be honest with you. Right now, we're not in a good position talking about that, and we're so the infrastructure team is working on using another thing.
Thanos.
Huh?
Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah. So
I propose using Victoria Metrics.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Give me the name. Well, we already spent a lot of time on Thanos, and it's actually. Two Russian guys now. They're working on it for some time. It's almost live, so maybe too late. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
How many developers you have in general, and how many of them using only PHP?
I don't know.
That's a follow-up question.
Yeah, no. I think right now it's the whole company is 250, maybe 30 people, and then half is engineering. So we're actually proud of this. That is a lot of engineers, and and this is good. And in the beginning, so this is a graph that we see that in the beginning there were only PHP developers, and then suddenly we see PHP developers, kind of the amount of PHP developers slowly growing, and the amount of Go developers going really quick and up. I think right now is, I don't know, 30% PHP, 70. I really have no clue, but
Okay.
more around that, yeah.
Nice. And are the PHP guys, going to move to Go?
No, what happens is that right now, what I said before is that sometimes PHP people need to touch some Go, and sometimes some. So I think the end goal is not to classify them as PHP and Go developers. It's just a generic developer that can do whatever. I think that's better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Let's give a round of